Hey YouTube, it's jurracmaster, and I have a pretty quick Evol deck update. I played with a, a bad version of Evils yesterday. Like, it wasn't really bad, but I just didn't like it. It felt weird, and it just wasn't working right for me. So that kind of helped me learn what I have to have in here and what makes the deck work really well. So, with that said, I'm going to jump right into the deck. I've got 3 Serratos that stayed the same. Still got 2 Diplo, and 3 Volcano, and 2 Elias. So that's all 10 Evolsaurs that I run. The number of 10 actually does kind of matter. Throwing in, I'll actually just get to the reason the numbers matter later. I've got the standard 6 Evil tiles, 3 Westlow, and 3 Najosh. Oh, I cut out Casenario, just because I had another card I wanted to put in, and he was expendable. So then I've got the 2 non-evils, Grand Mole, and Sangan. So for spells, 3 Evo Force, anything less is just kind of bad. 3 Forbidden Lance, 2 Duality, 2 Enemy Controller. I know a lot of people like 3, I'm personally only a fan of 2. Pot of Avarice, Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Mind Control, and the card I added instead of Casenario is Primordial Soup. It's pretty helpful. I'll get to that when I get to the rest of it, like the numbers explanation. So traps, Solemn, 2 Solemn Warning, 2 Deep Prison, Mirror Force, and 2 Call of the Haunted. Call of the Haunted were 2 of the cards that, in my kind of build of Evils, like, I just couldn't live without them. I didn't run them in that other build. And they add 2 extra cards to the deck, which is important, so I'll get back to that. Now I'm just going to quickly run through the extra deck. That's where another change is. There were only really 2 changes, the Primordial Soup and the one in the extra deck that I'm going to get to. I've got 3 Logias still, 2 Dolkas. I took out a Solda, so we're down to 1. And I put in Exabeetle. The reason behind this is I don't find myself exceeding into 6s too often, and I figured why have 2 Soldas when I really only go into it once. This way I have 2 choices, and if I need to go into it again, then Exabeetle here can be a 3600 if I've already gone into Solda. So it's pretty cool. It works out well. Zenmeister, obviously, he's always been in here because of the fact that he has that little loop thing. Not really a loop, but like he keeps reusing your Westlow. If you guys don't know about that, he just flips it face down, and then you can flip it face up again if you haven't flipped it already this turn. So you got 2 Utopias, 1 Utopia Ray, Leviathan Dragon, Leviair, Giga Brilliant, and Zen Mains. So that's the extra deck, and I'll run through my side deck. It's just the current side deck. I just kind of threw it together. It's also kind of based on what I see at my locals, so it's not really an extra deck I might run at like a YCS or a regionals or something, but for this it'll work. A lot of it is what would be the same at a big tournament though. Like 3 Mirror of Oaths. Rabbit is an annoying matchup with this deck because it's really whoever gets their Evolsaurs out first, and rabbits have annoying tour guides, so you have basically 6 things to hurt with Mirror of Oaths. And I know they can lance if they use tour guide. That happened to me. So they lance the tour guide and it doesn't die, you don't get to draw. It kind of stinks, but it really hurts them. It flushes out lances, and it works pretty well. So I've almost started to main deck one or two of these in some decks. So you might see that main decked soon because of Tour Guide. And just like a lot of other decks do it too, so. I've got 2 summon limits, 2 debunk, Starlight Road, Tyrant's Temper, I'll get back to this in a minute, 2 Leeching the Light, with Lightsworn being back and Agents not being dead to my liking, 2 Effect Veilers, and 2 Thunder King Ryo. So now I'm going to get into the kind of analysis of some stuff and just some explanations. So I'll get it out of that view. Tyrant's Temper, just a pretty nice combo with Najasho. It's just one more way to tribute, and basically you get to use Najasho's effect, and as long as this is up, your monsters aren't affected by traps. So torrentials don't hurt you, which is why if I was going to main deck this, I'd probably main 2 of this and 2 torrentials. Maybe cut down by 1 enemy controller, I don't know. Although enemy controller is still nice, so I probably wouldn't cut it out. I'd find something else to do. But you can also use this if your opponent refuses to attack over a Sangin. So that's pretty nice. And it's just basically a free monster that they can't bottomless either. And it just trap protection plus a monster that comes out off of this. It's just, this is a nice side deck card for me right now, because a lot of decks don't main too many, like a lot of traps right now. So I've been not main decking this because a lot of them, you know, they're just going to be maining Solemn and Solemn Warnings, and then traps that just help them out. So it's really only going to stop a few things like Deprison, Torrential, and Mirror Force. So I use it against decks that just like to run Fiendish Chains and Compulses and lots of other stuff that this will stop. So now into the whole Primordial Soup thing. I was running a 40 card Evol deck at my locals yesterday, and I didn't really like it. I was just drawing into 2 of these all the time, or I was drawing into these, and I don't mind drawing into these guys because they're 1900. These aren't too bad either, but I'd prefer them in the deck. So what I decided to do was try out Primordial Soup in this one, but the reason I was drawing them so often is because I didn't have those 2 extra cards in my deck. I know it's just 2 cards, but if you think about it, this is 10 cards right here. That's a fourth of a 40 card deck, and you're going to draw 1 in 4 cards is going to be one of these guys. And now it's just under that since you add 2 to the deck, and this is here. Just, I'm probably not going to use it too often, but it's not really going to hurt. It's this or Casenario isn't really going to make a big difference. I've still got, I think, 18 monsters, yeah, and it's not really going to be a big deal, especially once we get the cards that search out the evil tiles in the next pack. I'm really excited for the new pack and all the stuff it's going to bring to the game. Like the hieroglyphs, I want those. The new evil stuff, they get some of their best support yet. I'd have to say Najasho and Evo Force were the best we've gotten, but these are going to come close because they're just so good. So that's why I have the Primordial Soup, is because I've been drawing into like Elias so much recently, and it's really the one that I don't want to draw into the most. But I mean, it's going to work pretty well. It's been working pretty well. The 2 Call of the Haunted, as I said, they just add the extra 2 cards to the deck, but they bring back Najashos, they bring back stuff that your opponent gets rid of. So say you get one of these in the grave, one of these in the hand, you just normal summon it, and you make, you either do damage and then exceed, or you exceed, and it just brings back things. So you can Call of the Haunted one of these, and then tribute it for enemy controller. Or if it's during your turn, you can bring back Najasho and use Evo Force. So I mean, I just couldn't live without the Call of the Haunteds yesterday. I was trying to run Gores, like, I was trying to see if there was, like, any reason behind the Gores, and if it would work against, other decks, like, because the YCS build used it, and I figured, why not, I'll see if it's working. Like, I had tested it before and didn't like it, but this time I didn't like it at all. Usually, before Gores would at least help, this just wasn't working at all in this build. So, I didn't like it. The 40 card deck was hurting. So, I think that in Evils, going over 40 cards is probably a good thing by 1 or 2. It just kind of helps. Primordial Soup is a decent card. Even if you just want to send back 1, you could draw into that Evil tile or Evo Force. Primordial Soup might come out once we get the search cards, I don't know. But for now, this is my deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And sorry it went longer than I expected. I wasn't going to go into too much detail about why I have stuff in here and what the changes I made were. But I ended up doing it, so hope you guys enjoyed it. And have a nice day.